Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, and welcome to the first ever informative openings. This one is on Standard Showdown. Now, the idea behind these shows is there are certain kinds of booster packs or products specifically that only exist for Magic events. They're not something that as a consumer you can purchase, not like booster boxes or commander decks or anything like that. These are products that only exist as basically a promotional tool involved in some kind of event. So because these tend to not be produced in high quantities, there is not a lot of opportunity for people to learn about the history of these items in one sitting. So the idea here is to give you an idea of what Standard Showdown is, or, if depending on when you see this, was, because you never know. Events get discontinued all the time. Game Day, for example, is something we'll talk about that no longer exists / has morphed into something else, depending on how you look at it. The idea behind this is to capture a little bit of Magic history for anybody who wants to know about the Standard Showdown from its beginning. At this point, the Standard Showdown has existed for a little over a year. It started in November of 2016, back with Kaladesh. That was the first set they did. So basically, we're going to talk about the 4 iterations of Standard Showdown that there have been and the changes that have come along with it in terms of the packs and also the structure of the Standard Showdown. When it first started out, we were dealing with Kaladesh, and they came, you could see these funky little boosters. They came with 3 cards inside them. That's how it worked. The first Standard Showdown booster packs only came with 3 cards. And how it worked is basically the cards you could get in the packs would be standard legal at the time that those booster packs were issued. So when the Kaladesh Standard Showdown packs were created, they would have cards that were legal and standard at that time frame. So there was a weird issue they had where there were cards from Oath of the Gatewatch. That set had an issue where none of the non-foil Oath cards actually were inside these packs. So it was just a weird issue. It wasn't intentional. It was just the way it shook out, where you could only get foil cards from Oath, but no non-foils. So if you ever happen on one of these packs and you're opening it, there's no chance of getting non-foil Oath cards inside them. So the breakdown inside the pack is you would get 1 foil card, and this foil could be of any rarity from any standard set that was legal at the time this set was made. And on top of that, you would get 2 rares or mythic rares. Any rares or mythic rares from standard. Again, remember, none of this could come from Oath when it comes to the 2 rares or mythics because of the mistake they made. Now, the Kaladesh Showdown packs are the only ones specifically that actually have Masterpiece cards located in them. You know, Masterpiece, Invocations, the big special cards that they included in sets for a while. Kaladesh Standard Showdown packs were the only ones that had these Masterpiece cards in them. And there was basically, the odds were 1 out of every 35 packs roughly were the chance that you're supposed to get them. And I believe originally, now I could be wrong, but I believe they sent out somewhere between either 40 to 80 of these to a store. I think it was probably, most stores got 40 or less. So really there would be like 1 Masterpiece per store. I remember the excitement around these packs when they first showed up. So that was the Kaladesh one. Now at the end here, we're going to open some of these Standard Showdown packs. Now of the 4 sets, I have the other 3, but the Kaladesh set, I don't have access to that one. These are not easy to acquire. As I said, they're created specifically for events. They're very limited in number. So I was able to get 1 from Amonkhet, 1 from Hour of Devastation, and 1 from Ixalan so that we could do a comparative opening at the end. But there will not be an opening of the Kaladesh. And going forward, I hope to get a copy of every unique product like this and open it. We'll see how successful I am. But I think that it's neat to be able to record this in terms of Magic history, not just in terms of a normal opening, but to go over all the details about these items. So the first season of Standard Showdown was Kaladesh. It ran for 8 weeks, and it had a game day weekend thrown in there. When the game day weekend happened, there was no Standard Showdown, essentially. But other than that, it was just 8 weeks, and these packs were given out. And how they were given out also morphed and changed. At first, when the Standard Showdown packs, they were supposed to be given out for bringing new players in. When you brought new people in, the new player was supposed to get one. The person who brought the new player was supposed to get one. Like they had it emphasized. You were supposed to give returning people packs from the Standard Showdown. They had all these different guidelines and like levels basically that they wanted you to consider in terms of who to award these packs to. They gave you X number of packs to give away a week. I don't remember how many it was. Maybe they did send out 80, but either way, I do recall specifically that they wanted to focus on bringing new people in, getting people to come for repeated sittings of the Standard Showdown, and so you were to hand the people packs on that basis. And obviously the winner of the event was also to get something. So that was how the original, very first Standard Showdown was run. The second Standard Showdown is Amonkhet. And you can see, obviously, they kept the same sort of... All these Standard Showdown packs keep the same design. It's just colored in the booster wrapping of whatever the particular set. It's very distinctive. I like it. It ties it into the normal set. You can tell that it's very similar to a booster pack of Amonkhet, but at the same time, because it's got that sideways design, it makes it distinctive, and the fact that it's much thinner. So when we move on to the second season of Standard Showdown, that's where you see an increase in the number of cards in the pack. So we go from getting 3 cards per pack to actually getting 4 cards per pack with the Amonkhet. And the breakdown for that is you will get 1 foil of any rarity. Now this could be a mythic, it could be a common, it could be anything from any standard legal set from when Amonkhet became standard legal and the Standard Showdown was released. So each of these packs has a different time frame of what they considered standard legal and what you can get inside of them. So there's 1 foil at any rarity, two rares and 2 mythics of anything from standard. Now, one thing that I am going to look out for here when we open the packs, because information for this, there's not a ton about it out there. It may turn out that you're guaranteed 1 foil and guaranteed 2 rares and mythics, but those rare and mythics might also end up being foil. So it may be possible you can get multiple foils out of these packs, because the way it's looking like is it looks like it's only saying 1. So we'll have to see. So 1 foil of any rarity, 2 rare/mythics, and 1 full art land. Now, sometimes the full art lands inside the Amonkhet packs are also foil. So that's a nice little bonus to keep your eye out for. Moving on from that, we have the Hour of Devastation version. And this version has, again, we're looking at another increase in cards. This one gives you 1 foil common or uncommon from any standard set, 1 foil rare or mythic from any standard set, 2 rares or mythics from any standard set, and 1 full art land as well. And this full art land, again, may also be foil. And the final Standard Showdown that we're going to talk about here, in Standard Showdown event that we're going to talk about, is when the event had fully morphed. Because as it went along, they sent out guidelines saying, start to reward the more competitive players. Basically, just start to use these to reward people for doing well in the events. They dropped the whole drawing people out. Before we even got to Ixalan, they had already dropped that concept, and they were pushing it more as a competitive thing where it's like, use it to hone your game. But when Ixalan rolled around, they decided they were going to change things, or they were going to change things up. Now, Standard Showdown lasted for longer. Basically, on top of that, instead of having game day in the middle of Standard Showdown as like kind of a random show up to an event, we've got full art foils and we've got playmats for the winner, they decided instead to basically kill game day and then rebirth it as the store championship. So how it works now is, at the current time of Ixalan, Standard Showdown runs for X number of months, 2.5, 3 months it seems like now. It runs for a considerable amount of time, and it happens once a week. It leads up to the store championship. Basically, the idea is that you will be improving your skills during the months of the Standard Showdown, coming back week after week, getting better as you go along, and then it culminates in the store championship, which now features a playmat for the winner and top 8 deck boxes, as well as full art promos. So before, the game day would interrupt the middle of Standard Showdown and kind of stick out like a sore thumb, and now it ends. Basically, they figured out a way to dovetail it with the Standard Showdown. And I think it's actually a really good way of doing things. Now, in terms of what you get in the Ixalan Standard Showdown pack, again, we're looking at 5 cards for this. It's 1 foil common or uncommon, 1 foil rare or mythic, and again, these are from standard legal sets at the time of Ixalan being out, 2 rares or mythic rares, and 1 foil promo Rebecca Gayland. Now, these are particularly, at the time of this video's creation, these are particularly sought after lands, so these are a nice little bonus to have. Another thing you need to note about these is inside the Ixalan packs, there are no double-faced cards. So there is no chance of getting any of the cards that are the flip cards that have printings on both sides. They, for some reason, were excluded specifically from this. That also applies to the buy-a-box packs that exist for Ixalan, with the exception of the treasure packs. But we'll talk about those in another informational opening. So, in terms of Standard Showdown, this covers all 4 of the different sets that have currently been released. We have 3 of them for the opening, so now we're going to move on to opening 1 of each pack, just for basically recording the history of these very specific event items that are not easy to come across. So let's move on to that and see what's inside of these packs. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open the MacLeod Standard Showdown pack. Now there is supposed to be 4 cards in here in total, so let's crack it open. Oh, come on now. It's a little weirder to open because it's smaller like this. Alright, here we go. Here we go. Let's see what's inside here. So, we have Lightning Runner. Alright. So we've got a Mythic. Then we've got Wharf Infiltrator, a regular rare from Eldritch Moon. We've got a Full Art Island. And, oh, a foil Gaunty Lord of Luxury. Okay, so this conforms to basically exactly what was expected. Excellent. So that's the first pack. Let me just put that back in the MacLeod pack here. Okay, and then we have Hour of Devastation. Now this pack should have five cards in it. Let's take a look here. Okay, so we've got Conduit of Ruin from Battle for Zendikar. Oh, and we've got Wharf Infiltrator again. Alright, well, obviously they're still both standard legal. And we have a Full Art Island. And we have a foil Glorybringer. That's very nice. Can't complain about that. And a foil Arborback Stomper. So, for this pack, we were expecting 1 foil common or uncommon, which we totally got here. We were expecting a foil rare mythic, totally. We got the Full Art Land we were expecting. And then 2 rares or mythics, which is right here as well. So perfect. Alright, everything is according to the information that's available so far correct. Now, let us move on to seeing what if the Ixalan pack stands up. Now this one as well, we're expecting 5 cards inside of. So, let's take a look and see if everything is as expected inside of this. Alright. Okay, so we are starting out with a Heart of Kirin, and I will let the fact that I hate vehicles not distract me from what I'm here to do, and I'll just record this and just let it be. Alright, Heart of Kirin. We have a Scrap Heap Scrounger. We have a foil Irrigated Farmland. Well now, isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? Alright, and we have a foil Rebecca Gayland. Well now. Alright. Well, the information I had said that there should be 1 foil common or uncommon, 1 foil rare mythic, 2 rares or mythics, and a foil. Okay, so that's incorrect. So instead, it looks like you get 2 rares or mythics, 1 foil. You get 2 rares or mythics right here. It looks like 2 rares or mythics, 1 foil, and it could be any rarity. I got a foil rare here, but that doesn't necessarily mean any rarity. And the Rebecca Gayland is definitely there. So the majority of that stacks up. So there's a little variation. It turns out that the Ixalan packs only have 4 cards in them. Okay, so that concludes this informative opening. If you found the information to be of use to you, if you liked the video, make sure to like the video because that just makes sense. Thanks for coming by, and we will see you next time.
You know, together, we are the 6th color of magic.
We the best magic!